How's it going, everybody? Welcome to my video today. Today I'm going to be showing you how to design a sword in Autodesk Maya. So for the first major step in designing anything in a 3D program is reference images. You always need reference images to get your general idea out there. So for my sword, I'm using this reference picture as my baseline for the shape. Feel free to have your own picture. If you want to design your own sword, go right ahead. I'm just using this for time's sake. So for the next step, what you want to do now is you want to jump into Maya. From here, what I like to do from there is automatically go in and add in the reference image as a backward plane shape off. So view, image plane, import image, go to your folder, find your picture, add it, bring it to your front view. This one's usually your front view. You can see it right here in the front. From there, I like to center the sword as much as possible. Kind of bring it up, bring it around, just to kind of keep it nice in the middle. So from here now, we'll jump into the perspective view with spacebar, which you can do that in any view if you didn't know that. From here, what I like to do is select the image plane, make sure it's selected, layers, create layer from selected. We'll just call this, let's call it reference. Oh, oops. Alright, and from here now we can double click that. R means it's visible but locked, so now it'll be stuck there. From this point now we want to jump over up top here. I like to make sure it's in the middle. Click on the cylinder. What I like to do when it comes to the cylinder now, I like to change the caps to 0. We'll change this to 8. Now from here, we're just going to bring it up right to reference images. And we'll go back to our front view. Jump in, hit 4 on the keyboard to go to wireframe. Now the picture isn't really centered, as we can tell now. While we're looking at it, it has some centered line, but it might not be completely centered. So just, if you need to play with it to make it centered a little more, there's no reason not to. Now we're going to be working with only half of this anyway, so it's not really a concern. So we're just going to jump through real quick and delete half of it. That's obviously delete the caps on the top too, but no worries about that. We'll come back later and we'll fix the tops. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to bring this down here. You always want to be continually changing the shape of it as much as possible. Just drag this up. We should just stop it right here though. And bring these in. It's going to take, you have to play with it a bit. Jump to your other views every once in a while. You're going to realize that you might not be perfectly circular. So just kind of, go through and play with the shape. Alright. I should jump back to this view. Ooh. Camera got a little weird there. Okay, so we're going to actually come in here with the edge tool. We're going to grab it. We're going to hit Control E to extrude. If you didn't know, also W, E, and R changes your transform tools between them. Just gotta move this up. Let's go back to our front real quick. Stop here. 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 So now that may look weird now, but we're gonna go through afterwards, and at the end we're gonna go back and change this. So, for our side view now, we're going to want to kind of do the same thing as before. We'll pinch it in just a little bit by little bit, just to kind of give it some shape. What I also like to do too when it comes to something like this is you can, with your object selected, go to Edit, Duplicate Special, and if it's an instance, scale -1. See if it works the way I want it to. So as you know now, it'll select the opposite side and pull it, so I can work on 2 different objects, as if they're one. Just makes everything easier. Just come in here now, we'll select these, kind of play with these a bit more. Just look at the shape. Now you want to constantly be moving around this view to keep, the shape nice and decent. Just kind of actually grab both front and back here now. Oh, something is selected up. Oh. Alright, we're gonna go to our scale, kind of just bring it in. That's good for now, I think. We can come back and change it later, though. So now, we're gonna keep playing with it, though. Actually, we're gonna bring this in both sides again too, just to kind of keep it a nice size. It's all about constant movement, constant updating. All right, now so that's our basic handle. We'll come back through later and change some things on it. We'll also connect the objects later when we're done, but for now we'll just keep it like that, just so it's easier to deal with changing it as we go. So for our next step, we're actually gonna come in and add a box. So hit the square, bring it up to basically where it is, the cylinder is. I want to scale it a bit. Alright. I just jumped into the same view. So from here now, we'll go to 4. We're gonna go back to our front, which is what I wanted to do. Now what I like to do is come in and add a center line for objects. Oops. So with the loop around, you can come up here to your tool settings. Oop, my bad. I would say modeling toolkit, and you can hit connect. As long as the slide is 0.5, it'll be the center point of what you hit. So you could do that and connect half of it. And then we can come over here now, delete half. And it saves your tool settings, so you can come back and just do that like that. Come back at this. We're just gonna pull it all the way out for right now. We're just gonna bring this up to about here, this one to about here. You're gonna want to keep adding cuts to this. I'm gonna go a couple at a time, to shape this out a bit. Just get there like that. This right here. So we have the basic shape, but I like to go in and try to get as close as I can to the reference. But of course, if you have a polygon limit, by all means, don't keep adding what's not needed. So that's the basic shape. Looks looking good. So we're gonna come into our side view and notice that it's really wide, and obviously that's not right. So we're gonna scale these in small. We'll actually go back into our view, select it like that. You can also go to your top view. Just working this like this as well. Making it nice and shapely. So the normal one is much skinnier than this. It's like this. Kind of bring that in slightly. Now what we're actually gonna do. Squeeze. No, we're still leave it like that. That's fine. That's fine. so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna come back in here real quick, grab this, kind of just move it up, move this like this, move it in, move these up, grab this, move it in, and now we have like the basic hilt done, as you can see. I mean, we will go back afterwards and edit this a bit without the reference image in the way, just so it's easier to see the sword itself. But for now, this looks good. Alright, so after that's done, just get back to our proper view. We're going to jump to our front view again. We're going to add in, we're going to go with a box for now. So let's just bring this up. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to rotate it like this and come in here, change this to 45. Just kind of center it. That's weird. Okay, yeah, so what's what we're going to do? That's be a little weird now. What you can do, double click these tools. You can change your options. So I changed mine to world. It allows me to scale it like that now. You can just kind of scale that up as well. We're actually going to go back to our front view now. And before anything, we're actually going to come back in and we're going to try cutting this in half. Hopefully we won't run into too many issues. Alright, so half is just this. This is our half. So we go back into edit and duplicate special. And as you can see, it messed up. Darn. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to come back here. Duplicate special. Okay. I don't even really know what this did. Duplicate special. That's strange. What we can do anyway is just rotate this like this, make this negative 45, and for now that's fine. We can come back in afterwards and change everything. We'll fix that. We'll do that after. No rush now. So what we want to do, take this line, drag it over to the edge, come back in, select this, move it up. Starting to realize that certain things aren't in the same spots, so we're gonna have to kind of work around this. Put that in the center, grab this. We'll actually, we can. I'll just move this inward for now. I'll come back to our modeling toolkit. Just add a couple cuts, just so you can actually add shape to this, because we're actually have to bring this about here, put it in, put this in. So what I'm going to want to do is probably bring this around like here, and this one lower. We'll just keep taking these as well. So we have better shape now. Look at us. Look at us. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to come in, grab this way, cut. No, actually I'm not going to do that. Okay. Maybe if I do it like this and cut it. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's much better. We're also going to come in to the side view real quick, and we're just going to quickly scale this up. Just to give it a little more like shape in the middle. Alright. Let's see. Back to our front view now. Oop, too many clicks. We're going to keep shaping the thing just to kind of get this curve looking decent. We'll just play with that. So, after that though, we can come in, we'll bring this to the point where we can just bring this all the way towards the end actually. I'm actually going to bring it like here. back in again. Grab these. That's had a couple of cuts. Just real quick. Just grab that. Move that like that. Move this like this. Let's do one more here, actually. As I said, depending on your budget, you may not be able to have this much leniency with adding polygons, but in this case, we're just making a sword, so no real budget to work off of. Now this is the basic sword so far. We're actually going to bring this back into the center. See if we just, there we go, yeah, Z. Just to look at it a little bit differently. Alright, now for this part, what we want to do, grab both sides, Control E to extrude, bring it down. So now swords have points on the top, we all know that. So we're going to kind of shape it to have a point with this. So let's just bring this back, bring this forward, bring this back, like so. Come into this view. What you're going to see now. Alright, so we have the point there now. So that's basically the basic shape of the sword. So what else we can do now, you can actually come in and just turn this off real quick. Come in, look at the sword. We can try doing this again. It's still not doing it. That's weird. Oh well. What's 0 at? That's weird. -45? That's close. Not exactly what I wanted. Oh. That looks about right, I would say. Go to the side view and check. It's weird how one side has more than the other. I don't really understand why. Oh, because the faces are gone. That's really strange. But fine, you know, that's cool. What we'll actually do, I'm actually okay with that. Just delete these for now. Then we do when we connect this, we'll fix that real quick, which I'll do that in a second. So you know, what I wanted to do though real quick actually is come here real quick and rescale everything just to make it a little bit decent. So this should be like this. Because of that, this should be like that. That's not too bad. I wish it was a little bit rounder though. A little bit bigger. Now, right now we're just working to make it round. Feel free to continue on. Alright, so from that point now, what we'll actually do is grab these two. We'll come into mesh, combine, grab these two, mesh, combine, these two. You usually hit G on your keyboard and it'll actually unite. It'll actually use the last command you used. So you just hit G after one time. Okay, for some reason that's weird. It blew it up. That's fine. We'll just scale it down. That's fine. Alright. So from there now, we have this. What we're going to do now, as you can see, there's two lines in the center. You have to do that for everything, because just because they're united objects doesn't mean they're connected. So what we have to do is we have to go through, select the center lines, or vertices, hold shift, right click. Oh, no, what happened? Oh, I bet. Yeah, what? tool options. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. So shift right click, or right hold down, go into vertices, and we'll open the box for this. What you can do now is you can hit this, and okay, for some reason it deselected everything. Let's try this again. Merge vertices. You can just hit it actually. You can change the threshold. So we'll just snap it like that. Looks like everything is connected too well. Okay. There we go. So now, come into our perspective and grab one of these. Just say, no, they're both connected now. So from here now, what we can do is, is it gonna let me fill this? Let's see if I can fill the hole. No, okay. Maybe I can bridge these. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll bridge the sides now. This and this. Bridge. No divisions. Alright. We may still have to connect these side ones. I'm pretty sure we do, yeah. So you're still separate, as you can see. So what we'll do is we'll just keep doing what we did before. Bridge the sides. And you could, if the special worked, it would have done this together. But for some reason it didn't work, so why is this doing this now? I don't know why this is not working. Alright, there we go. Okay. Okay. So we'll quickly go through and just grab these. G. Now you see we have triangles there now. Alright. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use multi-cut actually real quick. And come across this like this. On both sides. That's just to set up triangles for the tip, you know. Alright, there we go. So now we have basically the sword done. Just need to finish the hilt. So we'll come back up here now. Actually just close that out. Alright. Now what we're going to want to do for this is you can easily create a new object for it, but I may just look into extruding out of what we have so far. So let's see. What we're actually going to do, we're going to bring this shape to what it would be like. No. Okay, we're actually going to create a whole new object. We'll stick with the first plan. So we're going to come in. I'm going to do let's do a cylinder. Alright, come in with a cylinder. Change it to 8 and 0. Alright, let's bring this. So now for your own sword, what you want to do, the best thing when it comes to modeling is finding the best object for the shape you want. So for this I used the cylinder. I shaped it a bit, cut the top and bottom caps off, and currently I'm now just moving it back and forth just to kind of enclose the hilt itself. What I'm going to do from here now, I'm going to grab this real quick, grab this. We're going to bridge these, just one division. So I can go like that. And then what we'll do here is we'll actually go in and we'll fill the hole. So with that we have about half the hilt now set up, but we'll do the same thing for the bottom too, just to set everything up a bit, you know. Just come in here, do that, carve these, mesh, fill hole. So now the mesh is closed on this. I would come in, get this, and I see how that works, nice. So now we have the hilt. What we'll do is we'll actually come back and hide this real quick, so we can actually see it around. Alright, come in, we'll combine these. Go to our 4. Now what I like to do is I'll come in, I'll grab this, go to mesh display, soften edges, you know, and that'll give it better lighting and everything like that. We actually didn't connect these yet either. So we'll come in now, we'll grab these, grab the center ones, as such, merge, merge, that should be good now. We're actually gonna come in here too and check these just in case. Merge, merge, go to 6. We'll just re-hit this just in case. Check out our perspective view. As you can see now, it's starting to come together. We have the sword, the basic sword model here. It looks pretty good, not bad. Alright, and then for the next step, it's going to be unwrapping the sword in this program. Alright, so now for step 2, what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be unwrapping this to get ready for texturing. So to start with that, we're going to hit the unwrap or UV at the top in the modeling tab. Make sure you're in the modeling tab. It's also F2 on your keyboard. On UV editor, it'll open this menu up. You can zoom out, you'll see your squares. I'll put this over here like this. So we'll start with the blade. So you can see here the UV pops up as what the shape was before. Since I messed with the shape, everything went a little haywire. So what we'll do is we'll come in, select these faces, and then we'll do UV planar. What planar does now, it takes a flat picture of the sword and lays it in this. And so here's your sword, as you saw it before. It's a little. This might be from the side actually that I'm looking at it. You come into the. If you open the main menu of it, hit apply. You can see right now it's actually the side. So if you hit Z, apply, it'll be the front. Come in here now, look at it. Looks a lot more like the sword shape. So we'll just throw that there. Come in here. Now certain things you can use the planar mapping for, like a sword per se, because you know we want both sides to look the same. But for other things like this, like the handle and everything, you want all these faces. If you just do a planar, you're only going to see these front ones or the side ones or top ones. You're not going to be able to see all of them. So what you might want to do is you can come in actually, select these. Actually, you could probably, let's see, what we'll do is we'll do a planar mapping of the front, right? So the front and back are the same now. We'll come in, we'll take the top. Right? And the bottom. We'll come in, we'll planar map these from the y-axis, giving us the top and bottom views now. And from there, it's really just placement. So, oh, keyboard's having issues. Come on. There we go. So we'll take these now, our bottom ones. We'll just separate them. I'll move them down like this. We can come in and take these ones. We can move those. What we'll actually do also is we'll take these tips real quick. Just come in real quick, planar, X, project, just to unhook everything from each other. Because right now, if I was trying to move it, as you saw, it was stretching it out. because they were still connected. But with this, if this works, there we go. I'm gonna undo this. Then you can hit the flip selected in the V direction, and now we have the opposite side. I just want to check to go to your vertex, and you can check to see which connects to what. So, as you know, this is the top. Just take that. We'll move this one in here. Go back to the vertex. Now these match up. These match up. So those go together. That's good. So what we'll do is, because these all don't match up, we'll flip this one, drag it up to this, and see now it'll match up now. So that's good. You generally want to leave the UVs in the shape that they're going to be in, just so there's not as much stretching from that. You know, the more stretching there is, the more problems you're gonna end up with. So we'll just throw this square over here too. You know, it'll be just in that as well. So now we have the sword in top of, you know, and the hilt set up. Oop. I grabbed it. So now what we'll do is we'll take the handle. No, the handle is really easy because they actually have a cylindrical mapping in this. So as you see here now, it pulled it out, flattened it. Let's see where it actually cut it. Okay, it cut it directly in the front, back, so that's good. Basically, wherever it cuts it, you want to hide as best as possible. You know, because unless you have a 3D painting program, which you can do in Maya 2016, or the newer Photoshops, you know, you won't be able to really cover that seam as easily as you'd like. But, you know, we'll just continue on. So, for this piece, we'll probably do a planar. Oops. Come in the planar mapping. We'll just try the Z real quick. So Z gives it a front view. That's the front. You know, that's the front and the back. That's really all you need to do for this. If you want, you can come in and like pull the inside out. But you know, there's no reason to. You're not going to see that anyway. So long as these two have enough detail placed on them, which we can just kind of pull that up to add more to it, add more room for detail. We'll scale this a bit now. Now we have all of our object pieces mapped out. What we're actually going to do is we're going to quickly come over, grab everything, make sure everything's selected, and combine the meshes, just so it's all one object. And we're not having to select every single one individually to do this section. Alright, so from here now, we'll kind of go through and start to set these up a bit. Let's just scale this. Just make sure everything is grabbed. Come in here. Put that there. The handle's going to have some detail on it, so I want to keep it a good size. This kind of, you know, doesn't have to be too big. But you want to do this, you want to take as much room as you can up, because, you know, you don't want to waste space. Space is money, and we don't like just spending money on wasted space, now do we? No, we don't. Alright, so just kind of keep going, you know, keep scaling things around. You know, that's a pretty good packing like that. So I would probably just keep that like that as it is. So from here now you can go to polygon, UV snapshot actually. Make sure F8 is selected so it's object mode and not individual. So make sure it's green instead of blue. Polygons, UV snapshot. Now for browse, well here we'll click browse. Find out where you're going to save your stuff, these videos. And here we're going to add in the, we'll call it just sword. So for the size, I'm going to work with 1024. The best thing to think of is you never want to scale up from a smaller size, so start big and then scale down if needed, just to save pixels, because you can't create new pixels from a design as scaling up, so it'll come out blurry. So do that. Image format, I like to just keep it JPEG and color value white. So we'll just work off of there. So hit OK. It'll say you saved it. After that, make sure your weapon is saved. You want to save your scene. Save it wherever you saved it before. If not, find a place to save it. Save it. And as you're building it, increment and save is one of the best tools in this program. It just creates a new increment of the save file, so it saves you time worrying about that. But nice. So from here now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna push into Photoshop and begin painting the sword texture. Alright, so now for step 4, we're gonna texture the sword in Photoshop. You can use any paint program, even Microsoft Paint, but I'm just gonna use Photoshop for this. Basically what you want to do is you want to basically create a layer and cover the UV map with color. Call it UV. Bring it to the top. Change the blend mode from normal to screen and lock it. What that actually will do is it'll allow us to cover the UV with color without actually changing it. As you see here now, you can see the lines through it, but it's still there. So now, that's the handle. I don't want that color. Thank you. Oops. Alright, so now here what we'll do is we'll come and just quickly go through and add some color. You can right click to change your brush settings. I'm actually going to change my hardness a bit. Just reset this. Oops. A little too far. I'll come in now and hardness, tightens the edges from being blurry and everything. So let's go through. Fill. Basically all you want to do is you want to get a nice base color on these objects. So I'm just going to go through real quick, and get the colors. I'm actually going to open up the picture of Sting just to kind of give myself a little reference of what I want. I'll take the colors off my reference as well. So we'll come in here, we'll just add some quick brown. Just paint it in. Alright. Alright, let's see what else we have for colors. We got like a dark, like steel color. Now for this, we can just kind of just cover this whole area, just to kind of save time. We can play with that later. And then for the hilt, we're gonna kind of go with a different color, slightly off. Those are pretty similar colors, actually. Strange, but yeah. So now, what you want to do, you want to make sure that there's no streaks on these. You want them with full colors. I mean, obviously you can see the streaks here. Here. But if you're having problems, you can come back to this view. Just look through everything real quick. That here. Now for this. Now you can go way more in depth with this texturing after this, of course. There's way more you could do with this. I could come in, say the sword, add a new layer. Say I wanted to add some more, brightness to certain areas. I'll come in with the softness. We'll just grab the middle of it. We'll just kind of brighten up the middle. So it's kind of, just like that. Hide the UVs again. That'll show. We're not gonna go too deep tutorial on the texture itself, but by all means, continue with the design, fill in the texture, make it look super good, you know. We're just getting the basics down of what to do with this. Alright, so after you have your basics done, as you see here, I just have flat colors. You know, we're going to hide this. And then from there, you want to save the file. I generally save it as a JPEG as well. Now we'll call it sword underscore diffuse, because it's the diffuse map. There's a bunch more maps to add detail to this if you'd want. But for now, we'll just work with this. So back in Maya now, we'll select the sword. Oops. Select the sword. Hold right click on your mouse. Scroll down to where it says assign new material. For this sword, because it's shiny, I'm going to use a Fong E for nice smooth shininess. And see now it's nice and shiny. So select it all the way over. What you can actually do is when it's selected, an object selected, you can go to edit, delete by type history. It'll clear the history of the tool, which I don't suggest doing that when you're completely done with it. But yeah, so from here now, what you want to do with the diffuse is actually go to the color menu, hit the checkerboard, choose file, hit this folder, basically go to your file. So here we go. Now you see here now, we have the basic sword texture we made on it set up. You can actually go and change with these settings to get rid of some of the shininess or not. It's really your decision. Oh, actually, we'll just add a ton. Specular maps are made for the shininess, so the handle would be shiny too. But we're just gonna focus on the quick diffuse map right now. Alright, so now for step 5, what we're wanting to do now is we're going to take our basic sword with its texture, and we're actually going to render it out to an image. You can do a lot more with this than what'll probably be shown, but I'd like to get, some things. I like to show at least the basics. So, to start, we're going to go over to this modeling tab. We're going to change to rendering. From here now, you can hit render, and you can go to render using, and just see what different options will result in different things. But you can hit render current frame, and it'll pop up with a picture of your camera angle and everything. You can set up cameras to render, or you can just use your basic screen camera. So we'll come back in here, we'll test it, I'll zoom in a little more. And there we have it, our basic sword rendered out in a picture. But there's more than that we can do with this. We can kind of view camera settings, or actually, where is it? Yeah, that's what it is. So it's view camera attribute editor. When you come down here, go through these in environment, you can change your background color. So I'll just quickly change mine to, let's say, like light blue. Light blue. We'll just put the colors like that. So now, if you go to render the current frame, your camera renders out that color you just chose. You can do a bunch more with this. You can create objects in the background. You can add more detail to the weapon. It can be way better looking. You can also add skylights and other lights through this menu, through the create menu lights. You can add, let's just say a point light. Let's see what this does. Just put it right here next to it. Render. And you see now, you can see the lighting on this. So you can go through, add a bunch of lights, make your sword look nice. Kind of coming over here now. We're actually going to come back. We're going to change that color to a darker color, if anything. I want gray, I like the gray colors. So now come in, render, current frame. Now we see we have different lighting now coming through. I'm actually going to go through real quick and just soften this whole thing, just to make it look better. Now F6, we'll go back to the rendering tab, just for the hotkey purposes. Now you see now lighting on both sides, making it look nice. So from here you can do a ton more stuff. You can set up a whole scene for this. You could do a bunch, make the sword look wicked good. But for now, that's just the basics. Add a little lighting, just kind of make the sword look nice. I hope you watch the tutorial and learn something, even something little, a few tricks and trades. But thanks for watching, and have a nice day.